get to the location where we're going to be fishing. We're going to be fishing off a bridge. That's my brother right there. So the wife is not here. It's just the brother and I. We're going to have some fun. Hopefully we catch some. Hey. So I'm on like my 5th fish, but they've all been small. About the size of my dirty hand. It's all squid juice still. Look at that. Anyway. So in this episode, I wanted to actually speak as I waited for the magic fish to bite. I wanted to speak about my testimony, right? So just to give you guys a background, I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. Believe it or not, a lot of people think I was born in Dominican Republic. But I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. My brother was as well. But we only just lived there. Oh, I think I got something. Please hold. I was there till like I was 1, and then we moved to Dominican Republic. And at some point along the line, my parents got divorced. There was a lot of back and forth between Miami and Dominican Republic. So it actually brought me to the point where at the time it sucked again, because you know you're used to it living in the United States, but it allows me to appreciate those things, the little things, you know. Fast forward, freshman year of high school was the last time that we went back and forth. I was here. Ever since then we've been living here in Miami. It ain't stuck now. That's a fish. Hey, what's poppin'? What is poppin'? This is a decent sized one, man. Look at it. If I let him go, he's gonna flip, so. But admire. Say, what's poppin', bees? What's poppin'? Alright, say bye. He's going back in. Pretty, eh? So nice. Bye. So when my brother and I got here from Dominican Republic, our mom was already attending church, King Jesus Ministry. I would always go to church, but mainly to please my mom. It was never really that I wanted to go. There was a lot of times where I snuck out. I gave my mom a headache, man, but she put up with a lot.
It's very rebellious.
And by rebellious, I mean, thank God I never got into drugs or never went to jail or anything like that. Everybody's testimony is different, but I was a handful, to say the least. And sometimes my brother caught the wrath of that, because sometimes I would be out and then my mom would go in his room and start yelling and asking where I am. And I would feel bad, but at the same time not, that she would do that to him, because he absolutely had nothing to do with it. But I was so in my world that I didn't even care about consequences or anything like that. I just wanted to have fun at the end of the day. So yeah, I was in the nightclubs, and I was at the club, in the club scene. I never, thank God, like I said, I never got into drugs or anything like that, but I did get into like drinking, casual drinking. I didn't become, thank God, addicted or anything of anything. But yeah, I was very much involved in that night scene of Miami. And there would be times where I would go to church and I would never be approached, or I didn't really make friends. I wasn't too outgoing in that environment that was so foreign to me when I would go on my own, and I wouldn't really necessarily make friends. So I would go and I'd go out, and there was never a commitment or anything like that. But in the back of my mind, I always knew that my commitment will come from building relationships there. And you know, then when I finally made the decision to be mentored and start in the vision of the house, is when everything changed for me. My very first mentor invited me to a retreat that was being held, and that was the retreat that changed my life, per se. I remember that day when I signed up for it, my mentor paid for it, so I was like, man, I can't not go. You know what I mean? Like, yo nada sin vergüenza. Like, I would, you know, consider other people and consider the effort that they're making. So I remember at that time it was like $45 or something. So I was not gonna let that go to waste. But it just so happened that the weekend prior to that retreat was the regatta. For any of you that don't know what the regatta is, it's basically like a huge party in a sandbar in the middle of the ocean. And we had planned it from prior, and that was gonna be like my last hurrah. In my spirit, I knew that something was gonna take place in that retreat, but I didn't. So I called it what it was. And so long story short, everything went wrong. Everything that could possibly go wrong in that regatta went wrong. The person that was gonna take us out in the boat never showed. God was already up to something. He's like, oh, this is your last hurrah? I'm gonna make sure you remember what the world feels like. Everything went wrong, and I ended up going to that retreat. I met some awesome people there, and I connected with them. They brought me in, they took me in basically. And that was actually, in that retreat, that first retreat was where I met Jenny, where I met my wife. That was the retreat. That was the retreat that kind of like brought it all together for me. Something in that retreat that I'll never forget. And I encountered him, I encountered his presence, I encountered his love, and I never went back, because now I had this sour taste in my mouth of what the world can bring me and how far it had already gotten me, which wasn't too far at all. I started serving everywhere, and I would become as involved as possible in church, so that I was so consumed by it with my time that I didn't have a chance to go back. That's pretty much it. It's when I met my wife, I met my friends, and I want, actually my brother, because he has a different perspective, so he's right here next to me, but I want him to give you guys a perspective of how life was, I guess, for me before, and what the difference is that he's maybe noticed and seen in me and in my surroundings and so on. So he's gonna take it up for now, and I'm gonna try to catch something big.
My brother, before falling to the feet of God, was a very different human being than what he is now. Brother, in conclusion, before getting saved, like, he just didn't care. He didn't care about nothing. He didn't care about his family. He didn't care. Even, we come from a very close-knit, the foundation of our family is very close-knit. We're all together. You know, we keep up with each other, you know. And my brother's just, he just didn't care.
I was in my own world.
He was in his own world.
Into my own things.
And key word, he was in his world, and he was extremely overprotective over that world. And he was extremely sensitive if you were suggest anything against that. So he was in the world deep end. He got it. He started doing some businesses. He's always had a mind for business or whatnot.
Remember one day that it's something that resonates a lot, and that I'll never forget. That one day we were at Mom's house, and you were like, you looked me dead in the face, and you were like, "Who are you, bro?" Like, it was in the beginning when I had just like started, you know, like I was committed. That's the beginning stages, like a couple months into it.
Yeah.
And you were like, but with a serious face.
I remember.
Like, who are you? You remember that?
Yeah.
Well,
in the kitchen.
Well, what was it that made you like say that?
A lot of things were like, you started reading the Bible all the time. That your weekends were like church. It's just like, I asked you because it was just genuine curiosity, like what is going on? Like, who are you? Because I don't know this person. And thank God, because God knows where my brother would have been. today.
Well, thank you, brother, for sharing.
No problem.
You have a beautiful smile.
I know.
So